Hello, and welcome to the podcast about Transformers comics, toys, and everything in between. I'm Onyx Prime with my co-host here. Oh my Primus, Killobyte, look out!
Ow, 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 ow. I'm all right. I'm all right. I feel fine.
Uh, Sorry about that, little buddy. I forgot how slow minicons walk, and I didn't look behind me when we were crossing that crosswalk back there. Are you okay?
Uh, yeah, I think so. I think they really hit my face with their side mirrors. Do I sound okay?
Let's say yes.
Okay.
So, listeners, for those of who didn't tune in last week, Computron wasn't at the table for our comic discussion, so we decided to go look for him. And for the past week, we still haven't found him. So we're on the streets here of Icon right now, and we might go grab a seat at McAdam's old oil house and talk about IDW Transformers: Revenge of the Decepticons Volume 3. And as always, spoiler warning.
Just grab a seat wherever you like, and we'll be there in a moment with some menus.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
thanks.
So if you haven't read it already, we highly recommend you to go and read it, then come back and listen to the podcast. I've also heard from some Earthlings that if you click that like button on this video or subscribe, that really helps us grow, and we really appreciate that. Now, onwards with the podcast.
Here are some menus. I'll be back in a few clicks to take your order.
Ooh, awesome. Thanks. Kilbyte, do you mind going over some fun facts for us while I take a look at this menu here?
Sure, I can do that. Okay. The first issue was released November 10th, 2010, and the last issue was released April 13, 2011. The writer is Mike Costa, the artist is Nick Roach, Don Figueroa, and Alex Milne, with colors by Jay Brown, Andrew Dahlhaus, and Romulo Fajardo. Now for some fun facts. The title issue 15, Altered Carbon, likely refers to Altered Carbon, a 2002 science fiction novel by Richard K. Morgan. The theme of downloading one's consciousness into a new body is very relevant.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Yep, it fits the theme correctly. In issue 18, just before Prime shoots Megatron in order to provide targeting information for the kinetic harpoon, spoilers, Starscream is shown standing behind Megatron. He appears on the next page as well. While it is possible that Starscream had managed to crawl away from Thundercracker's hideout, get back to the rest of the Decepticons, and get repaired between last issue and this one, it's more likely that this is actually a miscolored Skywarp, especially since Skywarp appears with the other Decepticons departing the laboratory complex.
Interesting. Well, I can give the listeners a quick summary so that you have a chance to look at the menu before the waiter returns. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay. So the summary for this issue is while the Autobots are out trying to keep the riot situation at bay from our previous issue and help Bumblebee, who has been severely injured, the Decepticons decide to invade Earth once again and create chaos, while at the same time rescuing their other Decepticon brethren. You get enough time
Yes,
to
I
read
did.
the menu? Awesome.
Yes, I did.
Oh, the waiter's back.
What'll it be?
Could I get a K-Juice and a side of plutonium pepperoni?
And I would like a high-octane turbo juice with a cesium salami.
Perfect. I'll be right back with that order.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Shall we get into it?
We shall.
So we're thrown into a scene with Rodimus ramming his ship into the Decepticon defense space on an asteroid. I think it's an asteroid. Pulling like an Indiana Jones like move here where he hides in a weapons vault to survive the impact. Very much Rodimus' style from my understanding. And if anything, this sort of explains Rodimus' and Magnus' ship relationship later on in the series. We'll get there, Kilobyte. With the whole stealing ship thing. There's a lot of fun panels in this one.
I can't wait.
What was your thoughts here?
I thought the same thing you just did because I wrote down that it was a reference to Indiana Jones with the whole fridge and the nuclear bomb. It was very funny. I wasn't expecting it, and then he suddenly pops out of the weapons cache, and I'm like, oh, okay.
It's fun. There's a lot of fun parts here with Rodimus. Like one of my favorite scenes is like after he takes down like a few Decepticons, I think Acid Storm and Bombshell. He's talking to himself and calls himself a genius. I'm just like, okay, narcissism is here.
Well, if you've been alone for I don't know how many long cycles in space, so eventually you start going a little bit crazy.
That's fair. So it continues. Anyway, Rodimus gets really confident after his great, what would you call this? Indiana Jones move, Jack Sparrow move, where just everything goes his way.
Yeah.
And this happens right up till the end. And Kilobyte, do you want to tell us what happens?
Well, at the end, we find out that Megatron has a new body,
Dun, dun, dun.
and it looks beautiful.
Yes, it's one of my favorite models of Megatron. And Rodimus runs into Megatron and he gets shot real good.
Yep, like dead shot.
DED. I think that's how they spell it, right? Dead? Oh, floating through space. What's your thoughts?
I was like, what? He died just like that? And what got me surprised was like Rodimus stole the Matrix from Starscream,
Hmm.
and he had it on him, and Megatron blasted him, and he goes flying into space. So now he's just drifting, and Megatron's like, I don't need that anymore, and just lets a dead Cybertronian corpse just float around with the Matrix of leadership like it was nothing. And I'm like, what?
I mean, if you think about it, the Decepticons have been treated poorly by those who have carried the Matrix. So why would you want that around?
That is true. It's just since they kind of that shows who the leader is, or like who's fit to lead the Cybertronian race. You would think you would want to try and see if you're worthy, right? And maybe
I
do a change.
Well, it's a sign of oppression to the Decepticons, I feel like. So I think not having it is more of a symbol. But anyway, we're getting off tangents. I was just like, this is interesting.
No, I like your points. I might be
Yeah.
just confusing it with other medias, right? Where Megatron
Right.
usually tries to get it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I can see the
Yeah.
oppression there.
So I have a question for you, listeners out there. Does your radio talk to you? Does it try to convince you to buy extraterrestrial weapons that may or may not be legal? If so, do I have some bad news for you?
Don't buy them.
Don't buy him. Don't buy him. It's definitely a Decepticon plot to destroy the human race, probably in some way, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's what we see here.
Yeah, just to quote a famous, I think it's a calamari from a movie, it's a trap.
Oh yeah, the fish, the famous human film, War Star.
Warsaw, yes, that's the one.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun.
It was very.
So that's a thing. So don't buy weapons through the radio.
Don't listen to your radio.
Don't listen to your radio. I know that doesn't sound great when you're listening to us, but you know. Anyway, we also get a hint of what Shockwave is capable of in this issue. And we see that when Starscream discovers that Shockwave hasn't built, quote unquote, a space bridge, but instead has helped revive Megatron. Then, when Megatron moves his fingers along the wall, a space bridge appears. Shockwave gets the last word in to Starscream, that is, saying, and I quote, "Some of us are capable of performing 2 tasks at once," which, dear listener, is just the tip of the iceberg of what is yet to come from Shockwave. What's your thoughts, Killobyte?
I love that scene, and that scene especially is very. I don't know if it was. Yeah, I think it's connected there. We see Starscream walk into the room, and we see Shockwave and Soundwave messing with Megatron's body, like his old body. And so Starscream is like, "What are you doing? You can't do that. Why are you killing him? Why are you dismantling?" Right? And that's where Megatron appears, and he's like, "Oh, Megatron, oh, I didn't know you had a new body." And now Starscream is all scared. I really like that, especially since Starscream has always want to be in command. But you can see
Mm-hmm.
here that he wants to be in command for not the right reasons, but like the correct way, not by taking somebody, like kind of have a little bit of honor in a way, right? Because he could have taken command, or he did, and then but he wasn't happy on how he did it. And so now with all this happening, it's like my greatest how do they call that in Earth, like hump to get over, it was Megatron, and here you guys are like dismantling him. So it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, it's sort of like that's my job kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So I thought that was very interesting.
Sorry to interrupt. I have your order ready for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy.
Cool. How's your drink? I'm gonna try some of mine.
I'm gonna try my.
Nice.
Oh, that's spicy. Oh, that was very spicy. Somebody warned me.
Which one did you get again?
I got the high octane turbo juice.
Oh yeah, that one kicks a little bit. It'll wear off eventually.
You could have warned me.
Ah, I thought you knew what you're doing. Anyway, shall we continue?
We shall.
So we get to one of my favorite scenes in this volume. Sorry, it's a very distracting scene. This little minicon do little circles. Anyway, sorry, what was I saying? My favorite scene is Brawn versus Starscream, which is pretty fun. A little tough guy with a temper takes on a turbo weasel of a bot. Good stuff. And we're gonna throw some nice images for you on the YouTube version. It's hilarious. I love it.
I really like that scene because Starscream was all depressed because Megatron was like floating in a jar and he had command, but not what he wanted. But now that Megatron's back, now he's back to his old self, making scheme, and he tries to recruit Thundercracker. And when
Right.
Thundercracker says like, "Hey, I don't want to be part of you guys anymore," kind of like join your group or anything like that, Starscream backstabs him and shoots him in the back. I was
Wait,
like,
no, no,
what?
no. He says the Autobot pitch was better,
Oh, that is
which was
true.
hilarious. And that's when Starscream was like, "Well, you shouldn't have said that," and then shot him in the back.
Shot him in the back.
Q Braun entering for the rescue, which is great because Starscream is not really any match for a little tiny strong guy, and it gets to a point where Starscream starts to try to limp away, but Braun needs to leave. Turns to Thundercracker, who's not doing so great, and asks if he's being okay. And Thundercracker's like, "I need Ratchet," but Braun can only carry one bot. Like the whole scene's great.
Yeah, and Braun was like, "I can only carry one of you, and I have a hostage or somebody that needs help. I'll get you help."
Right,
Just
he pulls an Autobot move essentially, right?
yeah.
So then we get to the big reveal. Megatron finally shows up to the Autobots and doesn't get a scratch after being shot at by many of them. And this is not the team that Optimus is on, right? He's on a different mission, but
Yes,
he wipes the floor.
yes, yes, he does, especially with Ultra Magnus there.
Oh, doesn't even stand a chance. Poor Ultra Magnus. These last couple of comics have not been great. First Menasor, now Megatron.
Rodimus took his ship.
Rodimus took his ship. Woof. So we get to our more iconic scene with Megatron versus Optimus, because Optimus finally gets put into the show or into the scene. But this time, Megatron has placed the wounded Autobots he wiped the floor with next to some humans with the G1 Megatron guns, which are guns made from his old body that started to show up all over Earth to show that Optimus, that these Earthlings do not want them here and they don't care about the Autobots. Again, this feels very much like the Heath Ledger Joker vibe with the Batman, but that's just me. What's your
Yeah,
thoughts?
I really like how the guns landed on Earth. They sent over like a box containing Megatron's old head, and then just a bunch of little guns in his alternate mode. And
Yeah,
I'm like, you could have just sent a bunch of guns. What did you just send a skeletal broken face for?"
yes, but a gun in the shape of a G1 Megatron scares Autobots more because I think there's even one point where the Autobots obtain one of these guns and start to panic because they think that specific gun is Megatron.
Yeah, which helps with the confusion, right? Because
Mhm.
everybody has one of those, so they're like, Which one's Megatron?" We all know he can transform into a gun, so now they're more like on the defense. And then of course humans are the ones carrying them, so they can't shoot at the humans because they don't want to cause problems.
Right,
So
right.
I don't know, like Megatron played it perfectly and just created the chaos he needed to show
Oh yeah,
everybody that he's right.
yeah. He's in control too of the situation.
Yeah, and it's very scary.
Yes, very scary. So another scary move, this time from Optimus, a very surprising move. Instead of shooting Megatron, which he knows won't take any damage after a tremendous amount of fighting, decides to shoot who? Who does he shoot, Kilobyte?
He shoots Soundwave
Shoots Soundwave.
in the
In the
face.
face, yeah. And I'm just like, holy scrap, that's dark.
Yeah, and he shoots Soundwave because Soundwave has been sending the noises right to all the humans through the radios and the TVs and trying to convince them that you got to get rid of these robots, shoot them, get these guns. So he shoots Soundwave to stop that, and
Yes.
it's pretty gruesome. Like I'm like, they just killed Soundwave? What?
It's very shocking. Reminder, listeners: do not take any advice from your radio that tells you to buy extraterrestrial guns. Don't do that.
No, it must be Soundwave in disguise.
Absolutely, or a Decepticon plot. Shall we talk about the Jazz incident?
Yes, that one's very like okay. Before the incident,
Yes,
I
go on.
noticed that Jazz, when he's in robot mode, and this could be pure coincidence, but when he's in robot mode, his hood for his vehicle mode looks just like the Decepticon logo. It doesn't have the face, but it has the spikes and the triangle tip, and it's
Hmm.
perfect for a Decepticon. So I don't know if it was like a foreshadowing or not, But I'm like, like rereading it again was like, I didn't notice that the first time, which is kind of scary.
You have to put up some images of that so I know which one you're talking about.
Yes,
But yes, talk about the Jazz incident.
So Jazz gets a little bit not trigger happy, but he's like nervous because B, that's been transported to get recovery, right? He's been shot in the previous issue.
Mm-hmm.
And Ultra Magnus' team, which was part of that Bumblebee's recovery team, gets put in the middle of a city, and all these humans are surrounding them, and they're like ready to like put them offline and start shooting. So Jazz shows up and has been told to stand down, don't do anything, that they can solve it. But he gets there's a human there that's getting a little bit antsy, and so Jazz it's getting antsy as well, and he ends up killing the human, and that sparks controversy, and everybody's, no, look what he did, he killed a human. And so Jess ends up just grabbing all the like Autobots that he can, and he runs away with them, but that just leaves a bad taste for everybody because it was an Autobot that killed a human.
Right. And the Autobots are working for the government. So what does that say?
That the government doesn't care for its peoples, which is
Says many
not good.
things, yeah. So before I get to my last point, is there anything else you want to talk about before we get there?
There is a funny scene where Megatron puts his hand like a telephone, and he gets little antennas and everything, which remind me like a go-go gadget telephone kind of scene. And I thought that was pretty funny.
That is pretty great.
So other than that, I'm assuming like I think I know where you're going with, and
Yeah.
this is going to be very shocking for everybody.
Yes. So in this volume, we get to see interesting small steps of character development for Megatron, and Optimus challenges him to another 1v1 battle after he took down Soundwave, and literally hits Megatron with the biggest gun they have, unscratched. Megatron emerges from the flame, only to have Optimus scream at him, "Why can't you die?" Which feels like something Megatron should be saying. But at this moment, you can see on Megatron's face, he begins to, like, there's a lot going on. There's just the small amount of details that show his emotions, and he decides to do what?
He surrenders.
He surrenders.
Well, first he beats Optimus to a pulp and leaves him very badly injured, and then he shows up to Omega Supreme and says, "I surrender."
Right.
Shocker.
So at this point, do you have any theories what's going to happen?
Well, there is a thing that Megatron says, which is pay attention to those closest to you. I don't know if that's exactly the line, but he's talking about Spike.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, the person you think is on your side is not someone you should trust. So I wasn't expecting Megatron to surrender. So it kind of caught me off guard. So I want to know what happens, like what Megatron is really trying to do. Because in the end, he also says, like, I am exactly where I want to be. So it seems like he knows more than what he's letting on, of course. I think this is going to be and end up being kind of a scene that will kind of destroy Optimus' like mental, kind of like his state of mind is going to be affected, because there's going to be something, I want to say dark, discovered, and that's going to be kind of like something that'll traumatize Optimus, and kind of who knows what'll go from there, right?
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yes.
So what would you give this out of Rodstar ratings?
I had a blast with the whole Megatron and all the plots and all the devious plans and all the misdirections, and then suddenly wasn't expecting this, and then it happened. I'm like, oh my god, it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I would give it a 4.5.
4.5, right on. That's exactly what I would give this as well.
Awesome.
It's a good time.
It is, especially like the whole Megatron and his new design. He looks even scarier than before, which I didn't think was possible, but somehow they nailed it.
They nailed it. It's very, because there is a toy out there, Megatron, way back when, that was his G1 form but black, and this is taking it to a whole new level. Like, he's not just black, he's also a stealth bomber. He's got some purple lights. He's got a fusion cannon. He's got invincible armor. So he's just that much scarier.
He's got a railgun as well.
Yes. So, we don't have any emails for you today, but if you would like to get in contact with us, you can send us an email at swervesbarpodcast@gmail.com. Do you have any toys you want to talk about?
I haven't gotten any recent toys as of yet, but I am excited for the heavy metal game. I've been seeing articles about new updates and things that they're improving, so I can't wait for it to come out.
Yes, that game looks like fun, and we do have content on our human YouTube channel,
Yes, yes, we
so
do.
feel free to check those out.
I can't wait for everybody to try it.
Yes, it's gonna be a good time. We can all be friends. For toys, I have an old crossover of Venom and Transformers. Turns into a black Mustang, and it's pretty fun. There's some images on our Twitter, on our Instagram, and our Facebook, and it's a fun time. It's an old toy. It's nothing new, but I thought it was fun. What do you think of it, Kilo?
Yeah, I think like the pictures you took of it for the premiere Venom, I think they were very spot on, and I liked all the funny poses you got him in.
Yeah, I like the little mood lights.
It was.
Well, are you ready for our next read, Transformers Ironhide?
I am ready. If it's as good as this, I'm getting pumped.
All right. Shall we continue our search for Computron?
Think we should after I recover from this ding in my head.
Oh, you'll be fine. We'll walk it off. All right. I'm going to leave some Shannocks on the table and we can get going. I'll send the listeners off while we clean up here a bit.
Perfect.
If you enjoyed this episode, consider sharing it with your friends and subscribing. We hope everyone is being safe out there, and we want you to know we appreciate you for listening. Oh, and for the human listeners out there, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Till all are one.
Till all are one.
All right, let's get out of here.
Let's go.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Swerves Bar Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter at Swerves Bar. If you are interested in more content, try checking out the spin-off D&D Transform and Rollout Rise of the World Killers. Let's tune in for a preview now.
I deserve the MVP of the night.
The MVP? I shot myself to get in there.
Is that what your MVP wants to be? It's like the little Overwatch thing where it says play of the game.
Yeah, the
It
game.
shows you shooting.
Player of the game. And it's Bastion.
It's always Bastion.
Exhilarating. There is also a YouTube channel with bonus content. Link will be provided below. End transmission.